Hey everyone, Cameron Tait here for Outdoor Canada's Wild Cuisine. Today we're making goose gumbo. You might have a little bit of goose left over from last fall's hunt, or maybe a little bit of goose for this year's spring snow goose hunt. So we've got chorizo and goose and shrimp. It is sort of a Louisiana French Creole dish. It's going to warm your heart. Let's get cooking. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take off anything that has a freezer burn mark on it, any discoloration. If you look on the back side here, there is some silver skin we're going to take off. That's on the inside of the breast. And what we're going to do is we're going to dice these into 1-inch chunks. So for this goose gumbo, it calls for a roux. And a roux is any type of fat and flour. You can use bacon fat, you can use canola oil. I like using butter. And so let's put it into this pot. I like using a big pot, lots of surface area, medium-high heat. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute the onions. So it's 1 onion. We're going to let this sweat down. So the onions have been cooking for about 5 minutes. It's really important that you do this in stages. Let's take a look. So they're almost transparent. So now we're going to take our chorizo. So this is basically a chorizo sausage that I've taken out the casing. We're going to cook this until all the fat and the flavor has come out. And the really great thing with the chorizo sausage, you got the garlic in there, you've got the fennel, you've got extra fat, and some pork in there. It just makes the dish really great. The chorizo sausage is pretty much cooked all the way through. So let's add in our 2 goose breasts, diced. And we're not going to cook it all the way through. We're just going to slightly brown it in here and incorporate it in all the fat. And then we're going to add the flour. So the goose meat is browned nicely on the outside. We're going to add our flour. Add it all at once, sprinkle it across the top. 3/4 of a cup. So we're going to reduce this to low because we don't want the roux to burn. Going to stir to coat everything, scrape the bottom. I actually use a flat bottom spoon like that. I don't use a metal spoon because it scrapes the aluminum. And this is where all of your depth and body is going to come in, is this roux. And there is a white, a blonde, a brown, and then a dark roux. And we're going to cook it to a dark brown to get lots of flavor. So the roux has been cooking, for about 8 to 10 minutes. I've turned it off actually to let it cool because you don't want to add a stock, into a really, really hot roux because you'll form clumps. You can use a goose stock, chicken stock, turkey, and what you want to do is you do have chunks of meat in here, but you're going to pour in your stock while you're whisking, sort of in the middle, and you're going to slowly dissolve all the lumps, if there is any. And the heat is off right now, so once that's in, get all the flour off the corners. And you can't do this with just a spatula or a spoon. Okay, so once that's in, we're going to turn this up to medium-high again. We got our chopped tomatoes. We've got our celery, our 3 bay leaves, 1 green pepper, And we're gonna add some Cajun spice in there. You can make it as hot as you want or as mild as you want. I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon there. Nice pinch of salt. And it wouldn't be a gumbo without some Tabasco. Again, you can use as much or as little as you want. It's about a teaspoon or 2. Give it a stir. We've got our shrimp still that we're gonna add to that, but we're not gonna add that until the end because we don't want our shrimp to be tough. So it's just coming up to a simmer and I've been stirring it the whole time. A little bit of tip. I like using this type of spoon because there's got so much surface area to scrape the bottom versus something like this where your pot is going to burn. And what you're doing is you're scraping the flour off the bottom so it doesn't stick. Okay, so it's all up to a simmer. We're gonna add our shrimp in here. And we're gonna simmer this for really, 2 hours on low. Okay, it's been simmering on low for around 2 hours, but the most important thing is that the goose is nice and tender. It's hot, it's spicy, it's filling. Serve it with a little bit of a toast head baguette. There you go, happy cooking.